Okay, so with equations of lines, you know my favorite, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. That's called point slope. That's where we're going to start everything. We're going to start with point slope, and then we're going to manipulate it in other ways. We've taken it to slope intercept, y equals mx plus b. Okay, that's called slope intercept. You should already have this in your notes, so you're just listening to me talk right now. The third way that we want to write is standard form. Standard form is going to look like this. AX plus BY equals C. It has some rules. First of all, there can be no fractions or decimals. So if there is, you're going to have to get rid of them. So everybody write this down. Standard form, you got that? Got that written down at the top of your page? Then the next thing you're writing down is no fractions or decimals. And we're going to, and that takes care of this one. If there are fractions, you're going to multiply each term by the denominator to eliminate it. The other thing that's important is if x is negative, you've got to multiply to get it positive. So x must be positive, and it must be in the form ax plus by equals c. So a lot of stuff on this page. Make sure you have this takeaway. This is standard form. There can be no fractions or decimals. Write that down. And AX must be positive. Okay, those are the things that you got to have written down on that slide. So we're going to write this equation in standard form. So remember, we said it has to be AX plus BY equals C. So over here on this side, I've got the X and the constant term. I'm going to move the 4X by subtracting 4X. If you look, X is first. So I'm going to put the negative 4X first plus the 1Y equals, what do I have left over there? Negative 8. This is a rule breaker. Remember, AX must be positive. So since it's not, we're going to multiply every single one of these by negative 1. So we're going to take negative 4x and we're going to multiply it by negative 1. We're going to take positive 1y and we're going to multiply it by negative 1. We're going to take the equal and just write it. We're going to take negative 8 and we're going to multiply it by negative 1. So our result is a positive 4x, a negative y, and a positive 8. Okay, sometimes people call this opping. You're going to take the opposite of the first term, the opposite of the second term, and the opposite of the third term, so your whole thing has a positive x term. So on this one, remember we've been talking about this. I told you I don't like this little 2 down here. This is why I've been doing this all along. We're going to sneak it over here. It's going to be 2 times y minus 2. We're going to get rid of the 2. We've got the negative 1 times x plus 4. Remember, if a fraction's negative, it goes with the numerator. So 2 times y is 2y. 2 times negative 2 is minus 4. Negative 1 times x is negative 1x. Negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. We got to get this constant 4 over to the other side. So what do we have left now? 2y equals negative 1x plus 0. Normally we just cross that out, but I know where I'm going with this. Remember, standard form, ax plus by equals c. The x and the y have to be on the same side. So I need to move this negative 1x over by adding a positive 1x. Brings the 1x first, the positive 2y, and then I have to have the 0 on this side. All right, checkpoint 1, write it in standard form. Remember, that's ax plus by equals c. So hint, you're going to move the 4x over. Hint, you're going to move the negative 3x over. Hint, you're going to multiply everything by 4. You're going to bring the, oh, this is going to be a rough one. You know what? I'm going to help you with this one. Let's bring this 4 up here. So we're going to have 4y equals, that gets rid of the 4, 3x minus 6. And then you can go from there. Now it's a little rough. All right, let's try to write the equations in all 3 forms. Woohoo! Point slope, x1, y1, and m. Point slope, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, the beginning of all forms. Remember, we started by writing it this way, and then we're going to fill in y1, negative 2, that's going to make that plus positive, the slope 5, and x 9. Then we're going to manipulate that. Y plus 2 equals 5x minus 45. We're going to subtract the 2 here. So we have y equals 5x minus 47. From there, we need the standard form of slope-intercept. I should write that over here for you. Y equals mx plus b. Remember, that's get the y alone. Then we want to go to standard form. So I'm going to move the 5x over by subtracting it. So I have a mess. I have negative 5x plus y equals negative 47. The ax has to be positive. So we're going to do that op thing. Opposite of negative 5x is positive 5x. Opposite of positive y is negative y. Opposite of negative 47 is positive 47. Ax plus by equals c. All right, let's start again. I don't remember what colors they were, so I'm just going to start with green. X1, Y1. We're going to go with Y minus equals X minus, and I'm going to put in Y1, I'm going to put in my slope, and I'm going to put in X sub 1. Remember to change that to plus positive. So that's your answer for point slope. Bada bing, bada boom. Now, if we want to manipulate it to the other forms, we're going to multiply out, distribute the 3. And for slope-intercept, that means get the y alone. So we have y equals 3x plus 11. For standard form, that means the x and the y have to be on the same side. So I need to move that 3x over. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. I have negative 3x plus y equals 11. Uh-oh, ax, remember, has to be positive. So opposite, opposite, opposite. Okay, if I erase that little green mark right there, that's my slope-intercept, that's my standard. It all comes off of point slope. Okay, then we've got one with a little fraction in it, still a little nasty, x1, y1, we can do it. Y, whoops, that's a minus sign, goober. Equals, and then we have x minus. We're going to fill in y sub 1, the slope, x sub 1. So change that to plus positive, and bada bing, bada boom, there's your point slope. Okay, I'm getting rid of that box because when I go to slope intercept, I need to get this 6 and sneak it over on the other side. So I'm going to go 6 times y minus 8 equals 5 times x plus 4. So I'm going to distribute 6y minus 48 equals 5x plus 20. I'm going to write over here. I'm going to write it again over here because I need a little more room. I hate it when I'm limited by the space given to me. I need to move the negative 48 to both sides. By adding 48, I'm moving it to the other side. I have 6y equals 5x plus 68. Now, at this point, I'm going to do a little stop because I'm going to take this and manipulate it into slope-intercept. I'm going to do that by dividing the 6. So 6y equals 5x plus 68. To get the y alone, I'm going to divide everything by 6. So y is going to equal 5 over 6x. 68 over 6 are both even, so I can divide by 2, 34 over 3. That's slope-intercept. I'm also going to go from this form to get it into standard form. So I've got the 6y equals 5x plus 68. I'm going to move the 5y to the other side by subtract. Oh, hey, look at this. Ran out of room. Oh my gosh, Evans. Plan this out better. I'm going to move the 5x over by subtracting 5x on both sides. So I have negative 5x plus 6y equals 68, and then I need this to be positive, remember, so I'm going to do the opposite, and the opposite, and then that gives me standard form. So when it's got a fraction in it, first thing we do is get rid of that fraction, but then you need to remember to stop at this point before you divide by 6. You're going to take it to both ways. You're going to use that step to get to both of the next two forms. All right, what's wrong with this one? I don't have a slope. So I'm going to go over here to the side. I'm going to say my slope, oh gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to write these down because I need help, is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that's 8 over 4, which equals 2. I'm going to put a little happy face there because there's no fraction. Woo! All right. So I'm going to go to point slope. Point slope, remember I start out this way all the time, and then I'm going to fill in the numbers. There's y1, there's my slope I just found, there's xy, and bada bing, bada boom. If I had a highlighter, I would highlight that because it's my answer. I don't, so I'm just going to put a box around it. There's my point slope. I'm going to distribute y minus 4 equals 2x minus 2. I'm going to move the constant. We do that all the time, no matter where we're going. That happens to get my y alone. Y equals 2x plus 2. Slope-intercept form. I'm going to move this 2x to the other side. I'm going to do that by subtracting 2x. So negative 2x plus y equals 2. Oops, don't put that line on there, Evans. Then you can't see what it is. So I have opposite, because 2x was negative, opposite minus y, opposite, negative 2. There's all three forms. I'm guessing, oh yeah, it's a checkpoint. So we need all three forms. Remember, in front of all that, they all have the word slope. Well, okay, 2 of the 3, that's a lot. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Let's go with that. So the formula for slope, remember, is this. So, little hint, point slope, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Slope intercept, get the y alone, y equals mx plus b. And our new friend, standard form, the ax and the by are all on the same side, equals c. Remember, no fractions, and ax must be positive. That sure says AS, doesn't it? That's supposed to say AX, silly willy willy. All right, this is the last of the slides. I did not have a secret word, but you know what? We've been saying positive all the time. So let's let the secret word be, we're positive. All right, practice, practice, practice. See you next time.